Zach, in your short 18 years, what experiences have impacted you most?
I would say the big experiences would be showing livestock and just working in the barn, like the hard work, the life skills that it teaches you. Those would be definitely the most important experiences to my life.
Welcome to this edition of the Whole Truth Podcast. Today, our special guest is Zach Tressler, and today we're going to talk with Zach. Zach's a young man, just graduated high school from Rushville Consolidated High School, and as a company, we're big on community give back, and more importantly, one of our core values is generosity, and I want to let Zach introduce himself, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of sneak peek here. Like, you know, if you know anything about 4-H, you get to sell an animal for a premium at the auction, and they are wanting to do a lot of work on the current facilities. And Zach said, hey, I'm going to donate mine back. And so we're going to kind of talk about that. But phenomenal young man. I've gotten to know him through the Dave Ramsey class that we teach. And, you know, actually used to work with his dad 20 years ago. So, actually more than 20 years ago. So we're just going to let Zach introduce himself and just kind of talk about generosity today.
So like Bob said, I'm Zach Tressler. I'm 18 years old, and I just finished up my 10th year in 4-H. I'm still showing at State Fair, but just finished up my 10th year. And like he said, I sold my animal at the auction this past weekend, and I donated all the proceeds back to the building just because 4-H has taught me so much. 4-H has been my life for the past 10 years plus, because I have an older brother that was in it, got out 2 years before. He was in it 2 years before I started. So 4-H and livestock has been my life for a lot of it, and I wanted to be able to give back and offer that to younger generations and give that opportunity to expand 4-H and allow for more people to come in. So
talk, what was the amount raised?
So the amount as of last Sunday was $19,300, and that all goes towards the building specifically on the Rush County 4-H campus.
So I want to take a second and just kind of like, that's pretty cool. And if you follow us, if you know me personally, like my kids just started showing this year, and some people like don't understand 4-H, and you know, it's kind of like arguing, is travel ball worth it? There's a lot of money in travel ball. There's a lot of money in 4-H that it just, there's expenses there. But when you hear an 18-year-old willing to give $19,000 back, like, let's talk about it. Let's quit complaining about kids these days, and let's lift the ones up that are doing awesome things. So 4-H, 10 years. What's your plans? What's your future plans?
So my plans are to go to Purdue University in the fall, study construction management technology. End goals to own my own residential company, but we'll just kind of see where it goes. So
home building, custom building is kind of what
stuff like that. So
yeah, and I told them Rush County in this area needs that. So so let's talk 4-H. You know, let's talk highs and lows. I know just from following the success that you had last year at the state fair. Let's talk about that a little bit. Well, let's also not be afraid to talk about like some life lessons, you know, that you've learned. Maybe that first time that you got your butt beat at a show that maybe you thought you shouldn't have, you know, like here's the truth about 4-H. Sometimes there's politics or showing. Sometimes there's politics involved.
Yes.
Guess what? That's life too.
Yeah.
So, we'll just let you talk a little bit about just your 4-H experience.
So I would say, 4-H has taught me a lot. 4-H has taught me both the highs and lows of life. It's taught me that to celebrate your wins and to be with the people around you and surround you with a group of people that are going to encourage you every day when you're working in the barn, whether you're in the show ring or whatever, but also at the same time, how to lose, that you're not always going to get your way. There's going to be people out there that cheat the system, snake their way through and take the shortcuts. But like you mentioned, I was fortunate enough to be able to win grand champion at the Indiana State Fair last year. And it was a tough fight. It's been 9 years of just constantly talking about all the people that jumped through the hoops on the car ride home. But once you win, when you know you did it the right way, and when you know you put your hard work into it and you didn't cheat the system, it's so much better than just winning through cheating. And Well, and like you said, that's in life too. Whether it's a job application, whether it's whatever. I mean, 4-H has taught me that hard work carries a lot more than just positions that you're put into. And I mean, it's taught me anywhere. It's taught me discipline. It's taught me responsibility. I mean, you got to get up early. You got to get these animals their feed, all this other stuff. And I just think it's really important. 4-H is really important, no matter whether you show livestock, whether you do projects, whatever. It's really important as far as teaching kids responsibility. Because, like, I think 4-H is an outlet that a lot of kids, or some kids, don't have. And that's their opportunity to learn responsibility, learn accountability, and learn how to win and both how to lose.
Well, and one thing, you know, like, I'm fortunate. I've got a son and 2 daughters. And, you know, one thing that I talk about is, I'll say this, like, the problem in this country, most of them stem back to the lack of men being men. Yeah. If I'm just being honest, you know, calling men out here a little bit. But, you know, my dad always put a lot of responsibility on us kids. Yeah. And some people didn't like that as much, you know, maybe it's too responsible, you know, and I've heard some things, you know, you've got to give responsibility, and, you know, like, it's crazy. Like, what people don't realize is them animals got to be fed twice a day. Yeah. Like, not once a day when it's cold, not, I'm not going out there for 2 days, you know, like, heck, when it's really cold, you got to go out there a little more often to keep the water thawed out, or whatever that is. And I mean, the consistency, and you'll see this the older you get. I see it every day as a business owner, like, the consistency of showing up every single day, putting in the work. Like, that's really kind of the secret to success in life, is consistency, and not, you know, not highs and lows, or, you know, yes, it's awesome to have a high of winning Grand Champion Market lamb at the Indiana State Fair. Like, celebrate that. Like, that is freaking awesome. There's only one person that gets that every year. Yeah. You know, however, you know, when you started showing, and maybe you're 3rd or 4th in class, and you weren't real happy with that, you didn't quit. Like, you kept coming back. You know,
going, that tenacity and willingness to not give up. Right. And I think that's important also with like future jobs and everything. Like, yeah, there's going to be times that it's tough. Like, work's tough sometimes, but being able to persevere through that and just continue to be a good employee, it's really, I think it's really important.
Well, and also you've got to, you know, more of a life lesson here is, like, you've got to be able to change and move with the times, and you can't just, you know, like, you know, and I don't know all the ins and outs of showing lambs. You know, I know some people will walk them on treadmills and stuff like that to build their leg muscle up. You know, for us in the cattle world, like, you're trying to grow hair. Yeah. So my kids are rinsing calves. I mean, some people put them in air conditioner coolers. You know, it's called a cooler room. Yeah. We don't have that. But my kids were rinsing them twice a day. Not, you know,
not whenever they felt like it, they were out there.
The last, I mean, and, you know, you know, cattle is that there's a hair cycle. Yeah. So once it starts warming up, you got to get that old hair out of there and start growing it back. And once that started, and, you know, practically March, my kids were out there twice a day rinsing calves. That meant they were up at 5:15 before school, out there rinsing calves, blowing the hair out, working the hair with a brush. Like, and my kids just go out and do it. And the funny thing is, I told my son, I was like, your sisters don't realize it's really not their responsibility. Yeah. They're helping you. Yeah. So be happy, you know. Yeah. But you seen that when your older brother started. Yeah. You know, you started helping, I'm sure, and it kind of just, it got that going. So that's, and then, like, but there's so many skill set that you're learning, the responsibility, the consistency, but then, like, the generosity to you be able to speak up and say, hey, I want to donate this back. You know, how many 18-year-olds have the option to put thousands of dollars in their pocket, are going to be willing to say, I want to give this back, you know? And what you don't have a clue is, you know, you don't know how far that's going to go. And the kids that are going to be able to come to show there, like, we're huge about legacy around here. Like, this business, I've always said, is way bigger than Bob or Emily Hoel. Yes, we started it to provide for my family. Yeah. No different than your grandpa with Hoeing Supply back in the day. Yep. I'm sure he wanted to change his family tree. But it gets to the point eventually where it's like, okay, how many more people can I help? Yeah. Like, you've got to get your household taken care of first. Yeah. You know, but, like, how cool is that your that you did that, because there's going to be kids in that barn in 20 years.
Yeah.
And to be quite frank, in 20 years, they may be your kids.
Yeah.
You know, but like, that's like the leaving legacy, you know. So kudos. I mean, I'm so amazed. And I mean, I know your family, I know your parents. Like, this doesn't come to a shock to me at all, but it's still pretty cool when you see, you know, an 18-year-old do that. So talk about some of the struggles, or I even hate to say failures, because life you either learn. I always say I either win today or I learn today. I try not to look at it as a failure, but maybe a learning opportunity that you know you got from showing lambs.
Yeah, I would say a big learning opportunity would be my first few years. My brother was fortunate to get in, but he was kind of carried a big shadow, and they always kind of, I mean, they didn't really focus on him, but like I felt like I always had to work harder for it. And for my first couple of years, I was kind of in the middle of the pack at State Fair, and it's a bit discouraging when your brother's at the top of the chain and like you're still back here. But the biggest thing was I was always the kid that was in the barn. I mean, I was always the one doing the grunt work. I would always offer, like, my brother would still do it, but like I was always kind of the first one to jump on the opportunity. And I think that's just that goes to my character, and I think a lot of that goes to my grandpa, because me and my brother, we spent like every day in the summers with him and just learned so much about all kinds of things with him. But I would say not only like being in the middle at State Fair, but just being challenged by other people, like people that go from being your friends to jump into the wrong side of the show world. And then you got to kind of ride the line, whether you're still going to be friends with them or whatever. But I mean, at that point, they just push you. They just push you to be better, push you to work harder. And like there was multiple years where we would leave State Fair and people would be upset and blah blah blah, and I would always be the one that was like, we didn't work hard enough.
Right.
We didn't make it. We didn't work hard enough. Let's work 10 times harder last year. Be in the barn 3 times more, whatever. Do what we can. And fortunately, I was given that opportunity last year. And I just think and like you said, you learn through. I mean, you in a sense don't fail. You either win or you learn from it. So, and I think showing has taught me so much of that, and I will carry that for the rest of my life. So,
absolutely. And what you'll learn is, like, when you meet somebody in business, like you'll build a house for somebody in 10 years that was in 4-H, and like you'll make that connection. Like, I mean, we try to put a lot of content out, and we, you know, I've talked before, there's articles written about me and my experience in 4-H and FFA, and the FFA center needed new gutters. Yeah. And they called us. I didn't know why they called us, but they called us. And then my sales rep at that time, Chris, now he's my sales manager, called back. It's like, hey, boss. He goes, they need like 2,500 linear feet of gutters. Yeah. So just rough numbers, $25,000 to $30,000 worth of gutters. Yeah. And I'm like, do they have the budget for it? He goes, no, what they're doing is they're going to evaluate which building needs it the worst, and then work on raising the money, have us do it. Work on raising the money, have us do it. And the sales rep, I mean, he's phenomenal. He's like, I don't want commission on this job. This is an organization. He goes, I've heard you talk about what you've got out of the FFA. So long story short, I call them, and they're like, hey, we actually called you guys, because they're in Trafalgar, an hour away from here, because we did some research and we found out that you were an FFA and 4-H. Yeah. I was like, yeah. So we ended up doing it as a community give back. Yeah. I said, pick the collar, we'll take care of it. He's like, well, so what's this going to cost us? And I was like, it's not going to cost us anything. And we were even fortunate enough that my gutter guy that helps me, that does work for us, it's a subcontractor, he donated, I bought all the material. He brought him and his helper. He paid his helper and donated his time. And I told him, I was like, bill me. Like, I'm not asking you to work for free. Yeah. You know, but that's also the culture that we've built here at Whole Roofing. Yeah. You know, so we can, you know, do a $25,000 job. And it was awesome because Adam's out there helping tearing down gutters. And I mean, we did that 2,500 linear feet in less than a day. We had marketing out there, we had sales out there, we had production out there. Yeah. Heck, I even made my kids take the day off of school and I took them, because that's important to me. Like the kids look up to this, and like my son doesn't realize what you just did, okay? Yeah. But what my son does realize is he goes to Heartland Christian School. Yeah. and they're doing a building fund. And he said, Dad, can I take some of my money from my premium and donate to my own school?
Yeah.
Like 10 years old. But that's the amount of work that we're putting in the barn. And, you know, like you said, like you get beat at a show, you don't pout about it. You're like, I didn't put enough work in.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's funny you say that. Jeff Cook with Showtime Premium Feeds we're good friends with. And he said, he told the kids one day, he's like, just when you go in the house every night, just look at yourself and say, did I work hard enough that I think I beat everybody else that's working cattle today?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's that drive. And unfortunately, we live in a world that it's, oh, you don't like my whatever, my hair color, my sexual preference. It's like, instead of like, nope, I've got to, you know, I get my butt kicked every day in business.
Yeah.
I've got to get up and, you know, and keep going. So that's what I love about 4-H. That's why I brought you in here. So who was a better showman between you and your brother?
I would say he probably takes the cake just because he was older and he beat me more times than I thought. But like I said, I also had 2 years without him.
Right.
So maybe I ended up being better. But at the end of the day, we always pushed each other. We were close enough. We're 2 years apart, and we did everything together.
Right.
So we were always pushing each other in the barn, so we were always making each other better. But I would say probably at the end of the day, he probably takes cake.
That's funny just because I've had people that's seen my 3 kids, you know, and I mean, Rhett's the brother. Rhett's the one that I told him this morning. The first one, I told him last night, the first one outside. The first one inside the barn this morning because my kids sometimes they get squirrel and I start thinking about other stuff. By the time they leave the house and go into the barn, got donuts. So Rhett informed me at lunch that, hey, I'm the one that got to the barn first. When did I get my donuts, Dad? You know, so, but it's funny because my son was fortunate enough to win Showmanship.
Yeah.
And what Showmanship is, if you never know, it's completely on how well the kid shows the animal. In a regular class, it's all about how good the animal is. Now, there are some showmanship techniques that you can help kind of show. Good showmen know how to show the bad out of their animal, you know. Yeah. And my son was fortunate enough to win champion junior showman at the fair. And, you know, it just, that ties back to the hours that he spent in the barn. Yeah. I mean, the times that he walked his calf out in the field or the yard for literally days in a row, you know. I mean, you understand that because you know you've done it. So, but everybody tells me my youngest is going to be the Spitfire showman. But if my son has done decent in showmanship this year, this being his first year, he's been pulled into the overall drive a couple times, you know, at different shows, but the one thing they've always said is he needs to be more intense when he comes in. Yeah. And the funny thing is the judge actually said that at the county fair this year. He's like, the kid I'm going to pick has come in here every single time, and I can see the look on his face that he's here to show cattle. Yeah. Now, my girls are probably going to be smiling at the judge, which this is going to be funny because I want your opinion on this. So what I've noticed in showmanship, out of the top 5, 99% of the time, 4 of them are girls. Yeah. Is that the same in the lamb world?
Yeah, it rings true. And I would say mostly because and it's different from a cattle to sheep world. And I have a younger sister that's the same way. She's just she's not really a smiley type. Like this year, we showed in the same master showmanship class. And she just gets up there and I go, hey, make sure you smile when you get in there. And she just looks at me and just glares. She's just kind of got that attitude and whatever.
Please tell me she didn't beat you.
No, she didn't beat me. But she wanted to so bad. But no, I just think as far as from a show perspective, there's a lot of girls in it, but I think they know how to compose themselves better. Like, at least with me personally, and with even in the Grand Drive last year at State Fair, I had worked to get to that point, so my nerves were just on edge, and the animal knew it. Oh, yeah. And I just think that, from like I said, from a show standpoint, I think it's just smoothness. Right. And just how their presence in the ring. Because, when guys or boys or whatever come in there, they normally have that kind of presence and that that serious look. But if you get a girl that comes in there and is serious about it and has that look, like it's just different, I guess.
Well, it's funny because I just we were at a show in Utah actually, and Rhett was second in that class in showmanship, and that was a big show, like 400 or 500 animals there. And Rhett was showing this heifer, and it ended up being through Matt Lautner, and the people that actually owned the heifer was this old rancher in Colorado, and super duper good. But he just reminded you like of a real cowboy, big old mustache, cowboy hat. Like that guy ranches. Like we don't have any ranches around here. You know, we can be cowboys all we want, but like really ranching. And he walked up, put his arm around Rhett, and goes, "You were better than her. That judge just must have liked girls today better than you." And Rhett laughed, and I just told him, I was like, "You're gonna have to work harder.
Yeah,
they're cuter. They smile. They, and he laughs. Like my boy is super serious about it, and like he's super competitive. Like he went home and he's like, he told his mom he had some breed champions, and then he had third overall heifer, and he told his mom he pretty much said he was gonna burn the breed champion banners because they weren't purple banners.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, kid, I love your drive.
Yeah.
However, we're not going to destroy something that's nice that's been given to us. A, and B, we've got to enjoy that for a minute because for his first year, he had a heck of a year, and not everybody can win 3 or 4 3 breed champions, third overall, junior showman, so I just try to stress that, but I also don't want to beat that competitiveness out of him because the world's going to beat the snot out of him when he gets out there, and he's got to have that grit and get up and go, I know you don't feel good, but you got to get to work today, kind of thing. So,
and I think with like the reason why we did the donation and stuff back, is because there is families in the community that maybe want to and maybe have the opportunity to come in and do the livestock side of it, but they just don't feel like maybe it's something with the facilities or there's not enough room or whatever. And maybe with upgrading those facilities, it'll draw more people in. I mean, because all but the beef side has seen a significant decline, like the swine, the sheep, and everything like that. And that was what we really wanted to do, and that was a big idea for donating that money, is to just bring more people in, and not to hand out like you said, like you still have to work for stuff, but just to give people that opportunity and give more space for more people to come in and learn the key life skills that I feel that 4-H teaches you.
Well, and kind of what is that one skill that you think? What is one skill that you think have? That probably, I mean, I know there's multiple, but what is one life skill at your age? I mean, you're probably going to look up in 10 years and be a different answer, but right now, like what's one life skill from 4-H that you feel like has really helped you get where you're at right now?
I would say hard work. I mean, just whether it's working for a show, whether it's working towards state fair, whether it's just doing work in general. I mean, when it comes to livestock, and my grandpa has raised livestock for years, so I go beyond the show world. I mean, we're breeding ewes and we're lambing ewes out, so there's always work to do around the barn. And I think just being around livestock has taught me so much hard work. Like whenever I'm at my job or whatever, whether it's 100 degrees outside, like I'm not gonna give up until. And that's not me bragging or anything. It's 4-H, and just being around livestock has taught me so much about just, this has to be done. Yes, the weather sucks, the temperature, whatever, but it's got to get done. And I think that's a life skill that I'll carry for forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's, just in general, you just be shocked that it's too hot or it's too cold or there's too much snow on the ground or whatever, and it's like it's got to get done, and like even my son, like I know people that got done showing at the fair Friday, and the kids probably haven't seen the animal since.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, now we had to go clean the barn up. I will give credit to my daughters. Me and my boy got up, we fed him, and then we went to go clean the barn out. The girls went out and rinsed the calves, but it's, that's something else that, I mean, they're going to spend hours and hours doing. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's, and I just showed junk out of the field. Like, I didn't have a barn. I didn't have a wash rack. Like, we washed them in the freaking muddy pen that they were in. You know what I mean? So, and my calves got washed maybe 3 times before the fair. Yeah. My kids are rinsing theirs twice a day, you know, but, and yeah, you're right. The livestock world, like, animals die, unfortunately. Yeah. You know, and you don't have any kids, but like, you lose pregnancies in the livestock world. Unfortunately, we lose pregnancies in the human world. Like, you know, and we've had a few die. We had a calf just get stepped on. Yeah. Total freak accident. But it was an opportunity for me to teach the kids, like, stuff happens, you know. And, you know, also, I think it's good when people realize where their actual meat comes from. And there's some people in this community that thinks that they just go to Kroger and pick it up. Yeah. Yeah, you can go to Kroger and pick something up, but, like, go see the work that's put in 365 days a year, you know, and whatnot. So so State Fair is kind of your last. Yeah, that's our last show. We really just, like I said, with breeding and everything at winter and fall shows and stuff, they really cram into our time with the breeding side of it. Yep. So State Fair is just kind of our end goal. It's what we work towards all year, and so that's coming up end of July, beginning of August. So how many years your sister got left in 4-H?
It's my sister's 4th or 5th year, I think. Okay. So she's got a couple more years. But
so she just shows lambs?
Yeah, she just. Well, actually, no. She shows at the state level. She just shows lambs, but she shows dogs. She shows. I mean, that kid does more freaking projects than I can count. She shows chickens. She shows rabbits, all this other stuff. And I mean, her willingness to get in the barn and be there as much as possible is just astonishing to me. I mean, she's got so much on her plate, but she loves everything she does. And you mentioned about your daughter's going out and doing that in the morning, and I think that's another thing that just, yes, I mean, you do see the bad side of how much stress the show world can put on families. But as far as my family goes, and I feel like you would feel the same in this, like, it brings us all together. Because we're all working for one goal. We're all working together. And it just, I mean, I've had opportunities with my family that I don't think I would have been able to get with everything else. Yeah, we have our moments in the barn where animals aren't working right or kids aren't working right. I've gotten that more than anything. But no, I just think it's a bonding experience, especially with kids and especially with the parents and stuff. And, like, for my sake, like, my grandparents. But
well, and, like, you know, what I've learned in, like, the show cattle world, like, that's 12 months a year. And, you know, I heard a family say, like, we don't do vacations. Like, your typical family vacations, you know, like showing cattle, but it's all in, you know, and, like, it'll be interesting, I think, with my daughters, like, the first time my kids had to show in the same class against each other. Yeah. Because, you know, Rhett, he wants to win. Yeah. Like, you know, he's willing to put the work in, but he wants to win. Yeah. Reagan, she's my oldest girl. She's my middle child. If it's cute, it could be the worst animal in the ring, but if it's cute, she's going to have a smile on her face. Yeah. Now, Riley, my youngest one, she's got focused, and she's going to want to beat her brother's butt the first time she steps in a show ring. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see because my daughters are each going to show, as of right now, each show a Hereford heifer, and there's a chance they're going to show against each other some. And it will be interesting to see how they respond because, you know, I made sure my son went and thanked his sisters after the county fair with the success he's had for all their hard work because, you know, he doesn't totally realize how much, you know, that helps. But like you said, it's a family bonding thing. Yeah. I get it. Your grandpa has literally done it his entire life, you know, but still, like, you know, there's been times that just out in the barn, like, you know, my anniversary was 2 days ago, and we spent our night of our anniversary rinsing calves, working calves. Like, I mean, I was fortunate enough we left the kids here for lunch that day, and me and Emily got to go eat El Reparo in peace and quiet, but, like, there was no fancy dinner to Ruth Chris. You know what I mean? Like, it's just...
And you do it because it's what you love.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that Emily puts the time into it, because she never did it.
Yeah.
She said she wanted to show hogs. It just didn't work out when she was younger, but there has to be a drive and a competitiveness. Who's more competitive, your mom or your dad?
I would say definitely my mom.
Yeah.
She showed at a lot of big shows, and they were fortunate. They only showed ewes. They didn't really show market lambs. They showed fitted ewes. And she was fortunate to do good at a lot of big shows. And she does push us a lot, and sometimes it is frustrating, but no, I do appreciate the drive that she has given me, and like you said with your kids, I feel like it's the same story at my house. Like my sister, she this year before county fair, my grandpa asked her, she's like what lamb do you want to show? And her response is, whatever one will beat my brother. And that's just like a sibling rivalry thing. And then whenever she picked her lamb that she wanted to show, because we normally grow out like 5 or 6 or whatever, and she was just every day was working with that sheep, was pulling him out, was getting him set up. And I think she wanted to beat me, but it also pushed her to be better with that sheep specifically. And I think she's annoyed by it, having to compete with me, but I know that it makes her better. So
well, and I see that in the business world when it comes to sales guys is the easy metric around my business. Like, you put 2 or 3 good sales guys,
yeah, and
then you kind of have a guy just getting by, like that other one's just staying above them. But when you've got 2 or 3, I mean, it's really life. Like, put yourself around, I try to put myself in rooms that I'm uncomfortable in, that most people wouldn't even step in, because, I want to learn from people that have the businesses 2 or 3 or 4 times my size, so I've got to go put myself in that room. But I also want to make sure I'm encouraging young men like you that have all the pieces, and I think I want to build custom homes. Heck yeah, because I've said that we need one. Like, my philosophy in life and in business, if you're good, you're needed.
Yeah.
Like, whatever kind of trade that is, whatever, and it kind of also just circles back around of like, pour your heart and soul into whatever you're doing. Adam loves shooting videos, editing, that kind of stuff. Thank God, because I need that stuff in my business, and I absolutely suck at it. Now, I love going out to sell people to work for me here. So, there's a skill set, and Ellie's phenomenal, answering the phones and just loving on people. I've got some sales guys. They think they're pretty good. No, I'm joking. They're good at their job. And I mean, it just it's cool to step back and kind of watch your life unfold and just see the people that you're around. And then also that elevates you, because you're around other people that competitively show lambs.
Yeah.
So you've got something to kind of drive for, and, you're getting around them people. And that's just, at the end of the day, that's just elevating you.
Yeah, and I think like you said with the business side of it, if you have your good sales guys that just push the ones below it, and just give them something to look forward to, I would say that's another big thing about the donation towards it. Is we knew we weren't going to raise like $100,000 or something crazy for that, but our biggest thing that we wanted to do is just get that ball rolling,
right?
Get people thinking about donating to 4-H, and then, like you said with your son, like, show the younger generations that whether it's 4-H, whether it's donating to people that just need some help in life, just if you have that extra opportunity to give that, and to just kind of be a light for the younger kids, that like you said, with generosity, it's crucial to life and just our world today.
Well, and, kind of as we wrap up and, we talk about generosity, like, you may be listening to this and like, I don't have $19,000 to give. Okay. But you do have time to give, and you do have some money to give. And before you can give $19,000 away, you've got to give $19 away.
Yeah.
Like, I think back, I've had her on the podcast twice, Zoe Mann. Like, we always, the last 3 or 4 years, we've done the food can drive for Christmas on Main.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, like, I put it on Facebook, and she donated not a whole lot of money, but she's in college working 3 jobs, 2 or 3 jobs to get through college, and she still reached over and donated.
Yeah.
Now today she's in a full-time job. She could donate more, and I'm sure she will eventually. But that is the cool thing about like the generosity. It really is contagious because, you know, what they did for you was, hey, we're going to do they kind of let people pledge money.
Yeah.
And so they brought you out there and they said, hey, here's what's going on. Here's the amount that we're at.
Yeah.
Well, then 5 minutes later, 5 people later, it seemed like you're walking back in the ring. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing here? And then they're like, all right, we're going to go ahead and give the opportunity. So I ran it up and I bought it. Like, you know, it was so easy for me to do it because I'm like, okay, it's going completely all back to future kids. And I mean, that truly will affect hundreds of kids every year. So, and what I don't want is I don't want to overshare. I mean, what you've done is awesome, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but also like just encourage people to help. And, you know, like I've been fortunate. There's been a lot of people that's reached out and helped my kids this year. You know, you're going to have the opportunity to come back to the barns, and I know you're going to be pushing your sister, but you're also going to be able to look over, and there's going to be some young kid starting that maybe doesn't have the Grant Pole with all the experience that you have, that you can kind of reach over there and help. Because even my son, and I try to talk a lot about this kind of stuff, and he's already told me, Shane Yeager is a good friend of mine. Shane's got little kids, real little kids. Mine are little. And he goes, Dad, I can't wait till Dawson gets into showing because I can teach Dawson what these people have taught me. Yeah. You know, so, I mean, I'm going to let you kind of just give, you know, your last words of encouragement of, you know, generosity, encourage people to be generous, just because, let's be honest, this world needs more generosity. And before I hand it over to you, I will say, like, what I really enjoyed about the beef judge and the champion heifer drive, he's like, this world's pretty messed up right now. Yeah. And he goes, there's a lot of good things happening in this barn right now. And he goes, I understand you're all competitors. You're sitting out there right now as parents, and you hope your kid beats that kid, you know, but like step back and evaluate the good people that are around here, because as messed up as this world is, like there's a ton of good people inside them barns. And that's what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to 4-H and that kind of stuff, the amount of time that parents and grandparents and 4-H advisors put in.
It takes an army to do what the show world does. And I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm going to let you roll into that.
But I would say just like it goes beyond me. I mean, one person is such a small fraction of what is made up in the world. But just to be generous to whether it's 4-H, whether it's food drive stuff, whether it's whatever, everybody needs a little help now and then, whether, like I said, whether that's mentoring or money or whatever it is, and just being generous to those organizations that give opportunities to young kids to push themselves to be better and to learn responsibility, and to do all that is just, it's so important for the future of not only 4-H, but the future of the community. And I mean, if you get the ball rolling with generating to 4-H or donating to 4-H and everything, that could lead to donating around town. That could lead to raising money for new buildings and all this other stuff. And I think it does go to show, like in our community, we had that big donation for the Love Center. Mm-hmm. And the youth in Rushville has really benefited from that. And I just think generosity can always be applied in any application. So
thanks, guys, for tuning in. And thanks, Zach, for taking your time to chat with us today.